LeBron James is on his way to his first championship. We're at the height and peak of insanity, and the first Avengers movie is still 3 months away from releasing. It's late February 2012, and sneakerheads around the world have something else in mind. An instantly recognizable shoe that's already had its ups and downs in terms of popularity was about to reintroduce itself in a colorway that might go down as one of the most hyped sneakers ever. The Nike Air Foamposite 1 Galaxy released in late February 2012 and has sent everyone that was into this silly hobby of ours into a frenzy. All the problems and complaints we have today about the sneaker industry was in full force. Reselling, backdooring, and even some very ugly things people did to try to get their hands on a pair of these shoes. But because hype is so strange, the popularity of the Foamposites just started declining, and it still remains dormant today. Sure, there's a big group of people that still love the Foamposites, they always have and they always will, but as of 2023, in general, if you're talking broad strokes, the Foamposites aren't a particularly popular shoe, and it's not what you would call an in-demand shoe. And let's be honest, that design that was inspired by a Beetle falls into hated or love it territory. And the price tag, that insane price tag, that falls into definitely hated territory. But no matter what, the Foamposite has already cemented its legacy in sneaker history, and on February 24th, Nike added to its legacy. Nike Air Foamposite 1 Dream a World Tech Grey. This shoe dropped at select retailers on February 24th for a whopping price of $250, and then there was a more general release on the sneakers app on March the 3rd. Nike has never been able to recapture the hype of the Galaxies, but I really do think these shoes are great in hand, and I can't wait to go through the details. Here we go. Now, what made the Galaxy so unique was that it was the first Foamposites to use graphic print on the upper sole of the shoe. Now, like the Galaxies, this shoe also features printed graphics on the upper sole, but it comes in this brush stroke gray. Now, if you didn't know what makes the Foamposites so expensive, is the mold that they use. So first, a liquid polyurethane is heated to around 130 to 175 Fahrenheit degrees, and then is poured into this special mold, a very expensive mold, to create this shape. If you've never held a Foamposite in hand, it feels kind of like very stiff rubber, but it still has some give. But you can tell that it's more durable, and it's because of that expensive mold and process of developing this shoe that drives up the high price point. The Foamposites, when they first released in 1997, they were already retailing at a price of $180, so they always started off way high. Now, this shoe doesn't just feature that unique Foamposite material on the upper sole, it also comes with gray suede down the middle, and because it's suede, I have to run my fingers over it. This suede does come in a slightly hairier suede than I would prefer. I usually really like smooth suede, but this one is more on the hairy side. And you'll see the suede extend up the tongue with the penny logo embroidered on the center of the tongue. Now, my favorite part of a shoe, the booty of the shoe, also features that penny logo embroidered as well onto that gray suede. And what's very unique about this shoe, not just because it's a Foamposite, it looks unique, but the color of the laces comes in this neon green, slight purplish tinge. There's definitely two colors on the laces, but it's very subtle. And you'll see the gray brushstrokes extend all the way into the ankle color of the shoe, which is pretty unique. A lot of shoes, they just leave the inside just completely one plain color. So I do like how they extend that into the ankle color. And this shoe also features one of my favorite materials, a carbon fiber shank plate with a Izumia unit. Now, you'll see herringbone traction on the rubber outsole, which is almost completely translucent with another penny logo on the heel. I happen to really like translucent outsoles, especially one with herringbone traction, but I know some people who used to ball in them, they did find the translucent outsoles provide less grip over time. However, my plan was never to play in Foamposites. It is a pretty heavy shoe, especially compared to modern day basketball shoes. Now, this shoe is centered around the theme of essentially achieving your dreams and dreaming big. And you see that right from the box. It's a pretty standard black Nike box, however, the words Dream a World is printed all over. And what's interesting to me is that there's actually no penny logo anywhere on the box itself. And there's a message on the paper of the box that says, "Luck or success happens when preparation meets opportunity. Insert your dream here." So right from when you get this shoe, you know exactly the message they're trying to portray. Now, I believe that message is from the ancient philosopher Seneca, who was also one of the drivers of the philosophy of Stoicism. And you see that same message on the insole of the shoe. 3 things that I love about this shoe. Number 1, it is the embroidered logos on the booty and the tongue of the shoe. I think the penny logo is one of the best Nike athlete logos, and the placement on the tongue and the booty, perfect. The second thing that I love about this shoe is the fact that the pattern, the brush strokes, extends into the ankle collar. I love that look, I love how unique that is. Part of the reason why the Foamposites are so eye-catching is because of the pattern that comes with the shoe. So I really like how they extended that pattern into the ankle collar. Third thing that I love about this shoe is the application of carbon fiber. If I'm paying $250, I better expect some premium high quality materials, and a carbon fiber plate is about as high quality, or at least to me, as it could get. Three things that I don't love about this shoe. Number one, it's becoming a recurring theme, and that is the lack of extra laces. Now I understand Nike probably wants to keep the look of a Foamposite as unique as it possibly can, so they don't want people to change out this neon green purplish laces. I don't love it, but I don't hate it, so maybe I just need more time to get used to it. But if they came with an extra set of laces, maybe white laces on this shoe, oof, I think it would look better. Dare I say. I'm not a designer, but dare I say, I think that'll look better. The second thing that I don't love about this shoe is that mini swoosh at the front of the shoe. One of my pet peeves that Nike does is when they add mini swooshes to a larger swoosh, and I know they removed the larger swoosh, so I wish they would have also removed that mini swoosh. I just feel like with such a unique shoe, not just in terms of material, but also the look, just keep it as separate and different from your other shoes as possible. Take out the swoosh. We know what it is. We know Nike produces Foamposites. Third thing that I don't love about this shoe, I alluded to it earlier. I don't love the suede on this shoe. It's slightly hairier than I prefer, and that doesn't mean the suede is bad quality. If your intent is to make hairier suede, and you make it well, then it can still be great quality. I just personally don't prefer it. Now there's definitely hairier suede than this, like the midsole on the Air Jordan 2 Responsibilities. That's about as hairy suede as you can get. So it's just personal preference. I prefer smooth over hairy. In terms of sizing, I'm a true 9.5. I stuck with 9.5 for this shoe, and I'm pleasantly surprised. They fit very well. It is snug, that's what I prefer. If you like a more loose fit and you have wide feet, maybe consider going up half a size. But true to size for me is perfect. I was originally kind of nervous because the upper sole of this shoe has less give than like a shoe made out of leather. So I thought it would take time to break in. But compared to the shoe like the Jordan 2 Crafts that I just reviewed, those I feel like were stiffer. These did not feel stiff to me, and maybe that's just my experience, but to me, they were pretty nice the first hour I wore them. Comfort-wise, there's sufficient padding inside the shoe, it felt comfortable, and cushioning-wise, it has a carbon fiber shank plate, great support, full-length zoom air, so cushioning-wise, no problems there. I will say one thing that I'm looking forward to finding out is the ankle collar on this shoe is slightly less padded than a lot of other shoes, so I wonder if I wore these shoes for 10 hours and am pretty active in them, whether or not it'll start to dig into my ankles. But so far, no problems. So finally, to give the shoe a sole score, the first metric is colorway. I think it's a nice colorway. I usually like gray shoes and gray clothing, gray everything, but there's nothing too special about it, so I'm gonna give this shoe a 3 out of 5 for colorway. The second metric is materials. It is a Foamposite, so they better have some premium quality materials, and I think they came with that. You have the carbon fiber shank plate, you have the Foamposite upper sole, which is super durable, so I think for materials, it's very good. I'm gonna give this shoe a 4 out of 5 for materials. The only thing that I didn't love, and I took 1 point away from it, is the suede could have been smoother for my preference, but overall, very good materials. The next metric is comfort, and I was kind of nervous. And I know some people have issues with it feeling kind of stiff on their feet, and even as a wide footer who was kind of concerned about the stiffness on the upper sole, I found it very comfortable. Personally, when I put my feet in, there's a lot of padding inside the shoe that makes it feel snug, and that's what I prefer, a more snug fit. So for comfort, I'm gonna give this shoe a 4 out of 5. The next metric is versatility, and let's be honest, the Foamposite, it's got its fans, but I don't think it's the most versatile shoe. It's a little bulky, it's a little out there. If you're not a sneakerhead, you definitely do a double take when you see a shoe like this. I think the colorway itself, it's a very neutral gray. That's pretty versatile, but the silhouette overall, unless you're playing ball in them, which is a whole different story, but for casual use, to wear outside a ball, I think there's a lot of other silhouettes that are more versatile. So for versatility, I think the colorway is very versatile, the silhouette not so much. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. And the last metric is storytelling. I think the storytelling for this shoe is great. From the box itself, to the paper, to the insole, there's a reinforced message of preparation and dreaming big, and it comes through very clearly. Now, one thing I think they might have missed and they could have thought about is trying to incorporate Penny Hardaway's own story about his own dreams and finally reaching the NBA and now becoming a coach in college basketball. Penny Hardaway is obviously the face of the Foamposites, so it would have been really cool if they incorporated some type of pamphlet or memorabilia or something to really drive home that message. So for storytelling, I'm gonna give this shoe a 4 out of 5. So that brings the total sole score to 18 out of 25, just below the highest score that I've ever given for any shoe. And I think that score makes total sense. I didn't expect to love this shoe, but I definitely expected to really like it. I knew the materials would be great, it'd be durable. I knew the color was something that I liked, but I also knew the silhouette itself isn't my favorite. It's not the most versatile silhouette, and if I had to choose one shoe for the rest of my life, it wouldn't be a Foamposite. So I think the second highest score that I've ever given totally makes sense. Overall, I think this is a really good shoe, from the quality, the materials, to the colorway. However, it's probably not what Nike needs to see the Foamposite revive and resurge back to 2012 Galaxy days. But for those people who have always been ride or die Foamposites, and I'll fully admit I've never been one of those people, I've never loved the Foamposite that way, it should be good news. You probably want to keep the hype behind the Foamposites low. It's already a very expensive shoe, you don't want to deal with insane resale prices, and judging from how this release went, it was pretty easy to get this shoe on the Social Status website. I know the Yama Manir website also released them, and on the sneakers app, even though it did sell out eventually, I do see restocks of this shoe pretty often at different shops. So if you keep an eye out, I think you will be able to get this shoe at retail without having to go through the resale market. So true Foamposite fans, hype moves very strangely, but I think the hype on Foamposites are moving in your favor. Low, under the radar, maybe overlooked, but that's exactly what you need. So that's it. Thanks for watching Soul Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Tech Grey Dream A World. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, just remember, wear your shoes.